Hey guys, I will try to explain to you the different gear setups I use on all my stamina characters on all 4 classes. First off, there is many ways to do arena. This is just how I prefer to do it. So you can just copy paste it, but you kind of need to understand the idea behind the builds and how the classes work, otherwise you will have issues. And only by using those kind of setups it will not bring you through arena. In the arena you need a lot of movement and situational awareness. You kind of need to know where the mobs spawn to be very effective. So as I said, I can show you what build, what gear I use, what skills I use, etc. How the arena works, but in the end it's you that completes the arena. So now some my gear setup for most of the classes. I always use 5 pieces Hunting's Rage. Most people use like 5 medium pieces here, and then you can adjust the heavy and light piece here to get your max Undaunted bonus. If you don't know what I'm speaking about, then let's see. Undaunted. You see here, increases your max health, stamina and magicka by 2% per type of armor. So if you have medium, heavy and light, you get 6% extra resources. If you only have, let's say, 6 medium and 1 light, you get 4% extra bonuses. If you wear 7 pieces medium, you only get 2% bonus. So some people run a full crit build with 7 pieces medium, but I prefer to have 5-1-1, so I get 6% extra resources, which also boosts my health a little bit, so I'm not that low. Then my jewelry, it's always 3 pieces endurance, because I really want the 3 piece bonus, this stamina recovery, and again the health is also not bad. On the jewelry you see like I have 2 robust and 1 healthy. Of course you can use 3 robust traits if you are imperial, etc. Like I just make sure always to have between 18 and 20k health, so it's kind of my sweet spot for my health. So as you see, I have like 3 slots left: head, shoulder and the mace or the two-hander. Now those you can modify kind of how you want. Like you see now here I have 3 Night Mother's Gaze, head, shoulder and the weapon. It gives me a crit and a weapon damage bonus. However, like if you have done the Maelstrom Arena already or you prefer a monster set, you can just put the monster set there. Like I really like the Bloodspawn because it gives you an extra stamina recovery and you get nice ulti gen from it. Now yes, your weapon is kind of, you don't get a bonus from it, but it's not really like crucial to winning or losing the Maelstrom Arena. What you also can do is Night Silence. As you can see, it has 2 pieces bonus, the stamina bonus, and now as the monster sets give you a bonus already at 1 piece, I still have stamina recovery, and I have a new bonus, maximum stamina, that I didn't have before because my weapon was kind of a random set. So you see, those things are kind of the small adjustments you can make to the other like 5 piece, 3 pieces. So really, and if you have already done the Maelstrom Arena, yes, you can use this setup, maybe 2 monster pieces, monster set pieces and the Maelstrom weapon. Okay, let's set it back to the Night Mother's Gaze, because most of you will probably not have any Maelstrom weapons. Now for the weapons choice. Like you see, on it depends what character I use. I sometimes use a two-hander, sometimes I use dual wield. If you use dual wield, yes, you will have one more bonus, means for this one here you get another crit. That's really nice. And I usually prefer to use a mace precise, but again, you can use a mace sharpened, you can use a sword precise, you can use a sword sharpened. It depends. But usually for me it's like a mace with precise bonus because I really want to get a good crit rating. Or those here, like dagger precise. If you're running a dual wield build, you will get quite high crit rating, which helps a lot. On all my classes, I use a bow on the second bar. Like you can use a random bow, it doesn't really matter because it's only your buff bar. But we will get to that later on each class. Okay, now another really important thing is not everyone is at the CP cap, so now I just resetted my CP, so I have 300 available more or less. So you kind of, I forgot this one, but whatever. So you kind of can see how I distribute my CP and how the stats are different to a setup with full champion points. Now let's just go into the CP system. Here I made sure that I have like 14 Moon Calf and 15 Warlord because those are really the two most important ones. You want a decent stamina recovery, so I have quite a lot of points in here, and the reduced cost for skills is also really nice. And I put 10 into tumbling because we also need to dodge roll a lot and we get stunned, so we need to break free. But this is optional. The most important ones are Mooncalf and Warlord. Now, in the ritual where we increase our damage, I just split precise strikes and might in half. So I get the 15% increased physical damage and the 15% increased critical damage. So that's really just those two. You don't need to put points here or points here as stamina build. Then on the last one, I made sure I have 30 points into recovery because it increased healing for Vigor. It quite helps a lot and it's really nice. I put 14 to Elemental Defender because there is a lot of flame, shock, frost damage and also magic damage. So 40 Elemental Defender and 30 Hardy. Okay, yeah, that's basically it from the champion system. So again, those are my stats. That's how I achieved them. Again, stamina recovery is the most important one. Because you kind of need to roll around. There are builds, like one of my buddies, he did it with 700 stamina recovery. Of course it works, but if you're new, I think you kind of need to dodge roll around, block a little bit, and you really don't want to be out of stamina, otherwise you're dead. Now, to the skills I use on DK. I use the Dragonfire scale because it basically reflects all the ranged attacks. This is really nice. You just have to remember it only can reflect up to 4 projectiles and it runs out after 4 seconds. So if you know there is ranged mobs that just spawn very soon, like you just flap your wings and then you're good to go. I have critical rush because you kind of need a gap closer. Because most times when there is a lot of melee mobs and you also have ranged mobs, you kind of can use your gap closer to get to the ranged mob to get some distance between you and the melee mobs. So you really want to have that, and it also deals a shit ton of damage, of course. Then I have my Executioner. If the enemy is in execute phase, just use Executioner. I have Wrecking Blow, my main damage ability. I basically just spam Wrecking Blow and Light Attack. And I use Vigor. Vigor is my only heal I have. If you want, of course, you can use Rally here and put Fire Scales on the second bar for, like, swap it out for Rearming Trap or something like that. Again, Dawnbreaker is only here because it gives me 8% increased weapon damage. Now, second bar, on the DK I use Scorched Earth. It actually deals more damage than Arrow Barrage. It is a smaller AoE range, but it doesn't really matter. Then I use Caltrops because it's a nice, the duration is 30 seconds and the enemies get snared on it, and it has nice damage ticks. If you don't have Caltrops, you can put like the wings in here, the reflective scales or something. Poison Injection or one of the DK's dots if you want. This one is not really bad in arena because, as you see, it gives you major fracture, so you debuff the enemy's armor, means you will do more damage. You also could use Unstable Flame here, whatever you prefer. Now another thing, Molten Armaments. You also could use Igneous Weapons. This one, it buffs my heavy attacks quite a lot. As you see at the start, when the mob is at full health, I get 40% heavy attack damage increased. And the lower it gets, the more damage I do, right? More to that later. Then sometimes I use Bombard because it roots all the melee mobs on the ground, so they can't really reach you. But again, you could put the dot here, you could put the dot here, and you're good to go, right? It doesn't really matter. Then I have Rearming Trap. It gives you a crit boost, and like between the waves of the mobs you can drop it on the ground. So it's really nice. Now the most important thing for DK, like as I said, we already have 1.46k stamina recovery buffed, it's more like 1.7k. Now other ways to restore stamina are, for example, heavy attacks, right? So when I use my Wrecking Blow, after the Wrecking Blow I charge a heavy attack because it gives me back resources. So when I do a Wrecking Blow, a heavy attack, or Wrecking Blow, or just when I walk up to a mob, I just charge my heavy attack to get resources back. And with Molten or Igneous Weapons up, it deals really nice damage. Then DK has really unique abilities to restore stamina, which most people are not aware of. Let me try to find those. So we have Battle Roar. Every time, like the description here is really completely out of order. I don't know what Zenimax is trying to tell us here, but it doesn't really matter. You see, like when you activate the ultimate, you restore resources. So in the arena, I use Standard of Might because it deals a shit ton of damage and all your abilities get a 20% damage boost. When you drop that on the ground, with that passive, you will get like 8 to 12k resources back, kind of. So it's a lot of resources, right? If you have resource issues, you also could use Dawnbreaker. Like you will have that ready a lot faster. It will give you back less resources, but it's kind of a panic button. And it also deals decent damage, of course. So again, Battle Roar passive, only DKs have that. And many people don't know it, that it gives a shit ton of resources back. Health, magicka and stamina wise. Now the second unique way to restore stamina on a DK is with this passive Helping Hands. So it says activating an Orphan Heart ability restores 5% of your stamina. So every time I activate Molten Armaments, I get 5% stamina back from my like 33k. That's a lot, it's like 1.52k. But yeah, the more important is the Battle Roar one that you know of. Also another thing, if you feel you have issues like you don't heal enough with Vigor, you can use Igneous Shield. This ability is also really nice, as you see on the bottom. The shield also gives you a major mending which boosts the effects of your healing abilities by 30% for 7 seconds. That's a lot, right? So what you can do is do kind of this. I mean, you just wings can be on the second bar, it doesn't really matter, right? You can activate swap back. And then you have Igneous Shield on the first bar. The shield you get from it is not really huge, but it can really help in some tough situations. But more important, 30% increased healing on top of the other things we have, the 8% here. So it's more like 38 in total. And then Vigor will heal a lot, believe me. 2 free ticks and you're back to full health. So as you see, there are quite a few helpful abilities from the DK side and with a lot of good passives. So really you can modify the setup quite a lot, as you see, with dots and things like that. I got a few runs uploaded, so just check in the description for the DK, like how I do the things, and I also got the video guide for the whole arena if you're unsure how to get uh, done on some stages or you don't know what the mechanics are, etc. So just check it out, check the description. Okay, now I'm on my Sorc. On my Sorc I use health and stamina buff food for this one. Again, same gear, Hunting, Snipe Mother's Gaze and Endurance. Now here I have 500 CP again, so if you have 300 CP you will have a little bit lower stats, but not a lot. So you see, although I basically wear the same, my stats look really different. Again, Serpent, Stone. So now let's see when they're buffed. I have again 3.6k weapon damage, I have 2k stamina recovery, that's more than on the DK, I will get to that in a second. So let's see, there is also a few different ways how you can set up like your Stam Sorc. I use bound armaments on both bars because it gives you the armor. Yes, you can remove the armor when you have either the Mind-Shriven one or the Wash Rock thingy. You see it disappears, but anyway, whatever. So now here I have Vigor on my first bar because yeah, it's just nice to have. You can put it on the second bar if you want to on Stam Sorc. So now here you can use Crit Rush or Stampede, it doesn't really matter. I think for Arena Crit Rush is better because it deals more damage. I have Stampede here because of PvP. Executioner again because of the like when the enemy's on low health you just spam this shit till he's dead. Wrecking Blow, my main damage ability, Wrecking Blow, Light Attack, Wrecking Blow, Light Attack. Again, Bound Armaments. I have to put it on both bars, and it gives me 8% increased stamina, and also it gives me 20% increased stamina recovery. So now let's see, where is it? Here. While the Daedric summoning ability is slotted, increases your health and stamina recovery by 20%, right? So that's a lot. That's that's so much. Then Flawless Dawnbreaker again here because of the 8% increased weapon damage. On my bow bar arrow barrage, it is a nice dot you can put on the ground, and it deals a lot of damage. I use Boundless Storm. I know there is a stamina morph, but the stamina morph is kind of expensive and it's only 17 seconds. And with the Magicka morph, you see it's 23 seconds duration, and you get the speed buff for 7.5 seconds. I think the Stam morph is only 4 seconds if I remember correctly, but not sure anymore. But really, this one is... I really prefer it over the Stam morph. Then Crit Surge. This is what makes the arena a lot easier compared to other classes. So what this one does is it buffs your weapon damage, right? But also, as you see, critical strikes heal you for 60% of damage done. And our Wrecking Blow, you see, it deals a shit ton of damage, 14.7k damage. If it crits, it's like 22k. So your healing tick is like 8 to 10k, right? So you get a lot of heals by just spamming Wrecking Blow. Maybe you don't even need Vigor, you know. As long as you keep attacking, you get healed. And most classes that have those abilities where you can deal damage and you get healed have an advantage in arena. Same as in PvP and all the other shit. Then Rearming Trap. If I had Caltrops, I would put Caltrops here, but as you can see, I don't have Caltrops. Anyway. Then Ultimate, I use Ice Comet. It's... yeah, there's not really a useful ability from the Sorc tree. You can use Overload if you want, but I don't really like it. I prefer Ice Comet. So yeah, that's basically... maybe also important to notice that I'm a Red Guard again, so I get the increased stamina recovery. So that's it with Stamina Sorc. Again, I have runs uploaded from my Stam Sorc. It's down in the description, you can check it out. Also a video guide, you can see how the mechanics work, etc. in the arena, if you really want to know. Okay, let's move on to the next character. Okay, so now my Stamina Templar. I like to use dual wield here because we have biting traps. So I will get to that later. First let's see the stats. Those are buffed. So I use health and stamina buff food only. Now my weapon damage at 3.8k and 1.9k stam reg with the potion active. And I got the nice crit rating. You see, like, you also can do 2 daggers precise, but I didn't have something else. So if you have 2 precise daggers, it's totally fine. So now you might have wondered, why is my weapon damage higher? First off, I use dual wield, so I get higher damage, like naturally higher damage. And also Templar has let me try to find it. Which one is it? This one, Balanced Warrior, which isn't balanced at all. Kind of funny, but whatever. It increases your weapon damage by 6%. Only your weapon damage, not your spell damage, so that's why it's funny. So now, again, remember 501 CP. If you have less CP, you'll have slightly lower stats. Now to the skills. As I use a dual wield setup, I use quick cloak here because you get 4-second speed buff. It's really nice, like you can move around a lot faster, it's really nice. Also very important, it reduces the enemy's AoE damage by 20%, which is quite a lot. So it's a really nice skill. Then Steel Tornado here for AoE damage. You don't really need it. Like, you could put something else there, like, I don't know, Blood Craze, Rending Slashes. But yeah, Steel Tornado is nice because it deals a lot of damage and 12-meter range. But again, you have Biting Chaps as your single target skill, and also it affects several targets if you manage to hit them all. So that's why you don't really need a Steel Tornado, but still I like Steel Tornado. Then I have Repentance here. So like you could play with less stamina recovery because of Repentance. Because first off, if you slot the skill you get 10% stamina recovery, right? And every time you use Repentance on a dead corpse, it gives you 3.6k stamina back, so that's a lot. Now, there is one issue. The mobs in Maelstrom Arena disappear quite fast, like after 5-10 seconds. I think Zenimax was afraid of FPS or performance issues if there was too many dead bodies, because all the skills that you do, the dead bodies still counter shit kind of. I don't know how it exactly works, but it's really strange. So you have only like 5 to 10 seconds to activate Repentance to get stamina back from the dead bodies. But still, you still can kind of time it, right? So don't just spam it after every dead mob. Wait a little bit, and when you see shit, I'm low stamina, you activate it, right? You get a huge stamina boost. Then Vigor again, great heal. Flawless Dawnbreaker here because of the 8% weapon damage. Arrow Barrage is still my dot I use. It has a huge AoE range and it does good damage. Again, Caltrops, it provides a really nice snare and a huge area gets covered. And it deals decent damage over 30 seconds. Then Blazing Shield, you can use you don't need to, you could slot Poison Injection, but it's not bad. Like, the shield is not big, you get from it 5.5k, but it can be helpful in some situations. Bombard again, mainly because I want to root the melee mobs, but also you could put Rearming Trap here, for example. Then Evil Hunter, if I fight against undead or the Hydra mobs, they really die quite fast and you get stamina back. My ultimate, I use Ice Comet. You also could use, like, it really deals good damage, it snares the enemies, etc. You also could use Nova here if you want the damage mitigation, but with Ice Comet the mobs will die faster, and the faster mobs are dead, the less hits you take in your face, right? Yeah, that's basically it from Templar. So let's move on to the next one. Okay, now the Nightblade, last character. So first off, a few stats. Again, health approximately 20k here. It's a little bit higher because there is a passive that increases your health. Let me try to find it. Here, each shadow ability slot increases your max health by 3%, right? I have a Mass Hysteria and Surprise Attack on the first bar, so that's 6% more health. As I said, between 18 and 20k everything is totally fine. Then on all the other free characters I was a red guard. Here I'm Khajiit, so I don't have the 10% extra stamina, that's why I have less stamina than on the other characters. Now, I also have, like when I buff myself, I have a little bit, I'm also on dual wield, so I have a little bit less weapon damage compared to other classes because I use Soul Harvest here. Yes, I could use Dawnbreaker and then I would have the same stats, right? But I will get to that in a second. Then now, Stamina Recovery. On the Nightblade you can have the lowest stamina recovery. So even like, yeah, I have nothing invested into stamina recovery apart from my champion points and this Necklace of Endurance, like the free piece bonus. The reason why you don't need a lot of stamina recovery on Nightblade is because of siphoning attacks. This skill is it's crazy OP, right? So let's see what it does. For 15 seconds each basic attack restores 972 magicka and almost 1k stamina, right? So that's only the heavy and light attacks. Those are basic attacks, but that doesn't matter. So now all non-basic attacks have a 10% chance of restoring an additional 2k magic and stamina. So this is basically like every skill you use that hits the enemy. The Caltrops, this all can proc it, right? So basically every 2-3 seconds you get the extra 2k stamina. That's why you really can run around with almost 1k stamina recovery and you still will be totally fine as long as you keep the buff up. If you forget to reapply it, you will be out of stamina pretty fast. You have to know that, so make sure to keep reapplying it. If you still feel uncomfortable with this low stamina recovery, like now I use a thief to get the higher weapon crit, you can get the Serpent Mundus, right? And then it will pop you up to like almost 2k. But really, again, it is not necessary, believe me. So now to the gear setup again. I use two pieces. I use a dual wield on Nightblade, same as on Templar, because you have a class ability that deals a shit ton of damage. So now what I use for skills. Mass Hysteria is here, like when there is a lot of mobs smashing into you, you can use this skill, and like in PvP it's completely OP. You just fear all the mobs around you. You spam 2-3 times tornado and they're all dead. Easy. Now surprise attack, this is my single target skill. It deals crazy damage. Also it inflicts the major fracture buff at the same time. So you debuff the enemy and you deal damage at the same time. This is also retarded OP. Like what the fuck. Then, and you really can animation cancel this one. Really nice surprise light attack, light attack. It works really nice. Then Killer's Blade. This is my executioner. So once the enemy drops at 25% health, you can just spam Killer's Blade. Also one other important thing, this here exactly at 24.9% health, it deals full execute damage compared to the two-hander where executioner at like it starts scaling from 50%, right? Shit, let me check. Executioner, yeah, from 50%. So this gets more and more, but this one is more effective, kind of. Like Executioner only deals max damage at like 5% and lower of enemy's health. It's still good though, so don't worry. Then Vigor again for my heal. So I heal with Vigor, also Killer's Blade, as you see, heals you for 20% max health if the target dies within 2 seconds. So basically if you kill a mob with Killer's Blade, it heals you. So it does a quite nice heal. It's really like, you can, when you kill a mob, you're low health, you kill the mob, you get back up quite fast. Then, you could use Dawnbreaker here for the weapon damage. but I really prefer Soul Harvest because, as you see, while slotted, each kill generates 10 ultimate. So every time you kill a mob, you get 10 ulti. That's why I always also like to use Bloodspawn on the Nightblade. You get even more ulti, so it's like a ulti gen machine. You're basically popping ultis non-stop. Believe me. Give me a sec. Okay, this was the first. It needs to be on the first bar where you kill your opponents. You can't slot it on the second bar. But then again, either Dawnbreaker or Soul Harvest. It's your choice. So now second bar, Arrow Barrage again, because it's a nice dot. I have Cult Drops. It's also a nice dot. It snares the enemies, and also again it helps siphoning attacks. Then I have Double Take. First here Cult Drops, then Double Take. Gives you a 4-second speed buff, and also you get a 20% dodge chance to attack the enemies, to dodge the enemy's attacks. Then siphoning attacks. I said before, this skill is really awesome. You restore so much resources through this skill. It's completely out of hand. Then the last one, I have Relentless Focus. I try to keep this up because it gives me a 10% increased stamina recovery, and you get the 8% damage boost. So you will do really nice damage, but you have to remind yourself, keep up Relentless Focus, keep up Siphoning Strikes. If there's more enemies, you have to keep up this, maybe Double Take, and it's a lot of buffs, right? Then some people prefer to use Ice Comet. Some people prefer to use Veil of Blades. Veil of Blades is nice, it gives a 30% damage reduction and deals damage at the same time. Some people prefer to use Soul Tether. I have not tried it yet, but apparently Soul Tether, like, it stuns all the mobs around you and you get a crazy healing effect on you. So this might be actually the ulti to go for. And it's only 150 ultimate cost, so Soul Harvest, like every time you kill enemy 10 ultis, you will have it ready in no time. And also if you combine it with Bloodspawn, it will be even faster ready. Then you also shall not forget the bonus from Undead. Where is it? Another 9 extra ulti if you kill Undead or Daedra mobs. So you see, it's like a freaking ulti gen machine. Again, I have videos uploaded from the runs from my Nightblade. Check it down in the description. You can see it. Okay. Okay, now last but not least, the potions I use. Like, I prefer to use the weapon crit potions. Those. So like you need stamina, you get a lot of stamina back, you get the crit buff, because we don't have the crit buff, because there's no space for Evil Hunter or something like that, right? And you get the weapon damage bonus, because I don't run a rally, like I don't run two-hander, and so I don't have a rally buff. I also don't use flying blade, so I get my weapon damage from the potion. However, if you have another build, like if you have rally, if you have the crit buff or something else, you can use those tri-stat potions if you want to. You also could use others like those, the immovability pots, so you can't get knocked down, so you still get health and stamina. But really, for me, those weapon crit pots are the most important ones. You also can use wet 5 ones. They are really cheap, so you don't shoot millions of gold into this arena. Yeah, that's basically it. Okay guys, if you have any questions about setups, gear, etc., about mechanics, just ask me. I have a lot of stuff in the description about like video guide, other runs, and there's a lot of things, so just check it out, and if you still have questions, just ask me. Okay, I hope that helps you guys a little bit, and good luck in Maelstrom Arena. Cheers.